here we are, quadratic equations lesson 2. This is part 2. We're factoring trinomials where a is not 1. It's something other than 1, and when that's the case, we need to use decomposition. So in part 1, we wrote down the steps to follow to do decomposition, and we're going to continue applying this. So step 1 is to remove a greatest common factor if possible. 2, set up the t-chart. That's this chart right here where you're looking for factors of a times c and a sum of b. Find the magic combination. Remember, there's only one of those. Then you use that to decompose the middle term. And now you'll have 4 terms instead of 3 terms because you broke that middle term into 2 different terms. So you'll buddy up the 2 and factor out a greatest common factor from each of them. And then you'll factor out the common factor to write it as 2 binomials. Okay, so let's put this into practice again. So we look for a greatest common factor, but there's no number that these are all divisible by, so we don't need to do step 1. Step 2 is to set up our chart. So we're looking for factors of and a sum of. Okay, so we're looking for factors of a times c, which is 10, and a sum of 7. There, okay. So here we know, hopefully 2 and 5, okay. Don't forget about using 1 though. If we were looking for a sum of 11, 1 and 10 would work, okay? So don't forget about that 1 option as well. Okay, so now we're gonna decompose this middle term using these 2. So like I said in the last video, the first term stays the same and the last one stays the same. We're gonna represent 7x as 2x and 5x, and they're both positive. So plus 2x plus 5x. And remember, the order that you put these in does not matter. I could have reversed it. Okay, so we've represented 7x as 2x and 5x, and then that one stays the same. Okay, so we've decomposed our middle term. Now we're going to buddy up. Okay, and then we're going to factor out the greatest common factor from these 2. So from these 2, we can take out an x. So when we divide them both by x, we get 5x plus 2. From here, we can take out a plus 1. You always take out the same sign as that first buddy. So we'll go plus 1. Don't forget to write the plus 1. That will help you in the next step. Anything divided by 1 stays the same. Now we factor out the common factor, which is 5x plus 2. Remember, this is a checkpoint. They need to be the same so that we can factor them out. And we're left with x plus 1. Okay, so all that work that we did in the first lesson is really paying off right now. So let's keep going. Look for a greatest common factor. There isn't one. Set up our chart. So we're looking for factors of a times c, which will be negative 18, and a sum of 17. Okay, this is a good one. So we know we need a negative number because of this negative, and we know that only one of them is going to be negative. So let's use negative 1 and 18. Okay, because negative 1 times 18 gives us negative 18. When we add them together, we get 17. So that's right. But for example, if we used negative 3 times 6, that would also have given us negative 18, but that would give us 3. Okay? So that's the reason I like the t-chart, is because it gives you a chance to check out different options. And I'm glad we're doing this example so that we are reminded to always consider the option of 1 times the number, or negative 1 times it. Okay, now we're going to decompose the middle term. So we've got 6x squared minus x plus 18x minus 3. Okay, now we're going to buddy up and then take out the greatest common factor. So here I can only take out an x. So I'm going to have x times 6x minus 1. Okay, because 6x squared divided by x is 6x. Negative x divided by x is negative 1. Because it's the same thing being divided, but one's positive, one's negative. Here we can take out a positive 3. So plus 3, 18x divided by 3 is 6x. Negative 3 divided by positive 3 is minus 1. Okay, look at those 2 are the same, which is good because now we factor those out. And we're left with x plus 3. Okay, let's do this one. Yeah, I'm gonna give myself more room there. Okay, the t-chart. I don't like it being so squishy, so I'm going to do my t-chart up here. Okay, let's look for a greatest common factor first. There isn't one, so now we can do factors of negative 24, because 3 times negative 8 is negative 24, and a sum of negative 2. Okay, so we know we're working with negatives, or at least one negative here, and the bigger one's going to be negative, so that we get a big negative sum. So negative 6 and 4 will work. Okay, because negative 6 times 4 is negative 24, and negative 6 plus 4 gives us negative 2. Okay, so that's half the battle right there, is finding that combination. And some of them are easy, some of them are hard. Even I struggle with some of them sometimes. Okay, now we're going to break it down. So we've got 3x squared. I'm going to put plus 4x here. You'll see why. So remember, the order doesn't matter, but I just want to review this. Okay, we decomposed it, we buddied up. Now from here, we can just take out x. 3x plus 4. Some of you will get so comfortable with factoring that you don't need to write this out. You can go directly from this to this, and that's fine. Now here, the reason I wanted to put this first is because see how this is negative, so we for sure have to take out a negative greatest common factor. Okay, and we'll take out negative 2. Okay, and so we'll get 3x plus 4, because these are both negative, and when we divide them by a negative, they become positive. Here's our checkpoint, they're the same, so we factored that out, that's the common factor, and we're left with x minus 2. Okay, one last one here, I'll do my t-chart over here. We've got factors of 12, because 12 times 1 is 12, and a sum of negative 8. Okay, so here we know we're working with negatives. This is positive, so we know they're both going to be negative. So some of you, I bet, are already thinking negative 2, negative 6, and you are correct, because negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12, but when we add them together, we get negative 8. So now we've got 12t squared minus 2t minus 6t plus 1. Okay, we've decomposed. Now we're going to buddy up. Okay, so from here we can take out a 2t, and we're left with 6t minus 1, because 12t squared divided by 2t is 6t, negative 2t divided by positive 2t is negative 1. Here we'll take out negative 1, okay, because we have to take out a negative because this first buddy's negative, and then that's the only thing that they're both divisible by. So we'll write it as negative 1. So now these both change signs, so we get 6t minus 1, which is good, that's what we want. So we can factor that out because it's the same in both of them. And we're left with 2t minus 1. And then remember, you can always check that you're correct by when we expand these two, when we multiply them together or FOIL, and then combine like terms, we should get back to this. Okay, let's finish this off. So here, first thing you should do when you see something like this is rearrange it so that it's in the correct order of the x squared term going first and the constant going last. Okay, so remember, the term takes on the sign above, in front of it. So we're going to have negative 2x squared minus 7x plus 15. Okay, now here, this is important. If it starts with a negative, you need to for sure take that out, or a bigger number if they're all divisible. Say, for example, these were all even, then we would take out a negative 2. But that's not the case, so then take out that negative 1. And then we get 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. Then you can ignore that negative 1 until the end. I always have to write it down there because I usually forget about it, and then I'm wrong. Okay, so ignore it for now. Now, if we set up our chart, I'll do my chart up here. We're looking for factors of 2 times negative 15, so negative 30, and a sum of 7. Okay, so let's, negative 3 and 10. That just came to me. You can tell I've been factoring a long time. So negative 3 times 10 is negative 30, and look, when we add them together, we get 7. Okay, so we'll break this down. So we can ignore this, we've already accounted for it. So 2x squared minus 3x plus 10x minus 15. So we've decomposed our middle term. Now we can buddy up. Got more room here, which is nice. Here we can just take out an x. So we're left with 2x minus 3. Here we can take out plus 5 and write it as plus 5. Lots of people forget to put that plus and then it messes them up. Okay, so now we get 2x minus 3, which is what we want. We need those two to be the same, so we can factor them out. And we get x plus 5. Okay. Hello? Hi, Taylor. I'm just making a video. Can I call you? Because you were supposed to call me at 10:30, right? Oh, can I just call you back? Or actually, here,